this next little chunk is start to look at where does all your time go. So hopefully in that last little exercise you got a little bit of an idea of maybe some areas that need some work. But bottom line, where does all your time go? And what you kind of need to do here is look at it like a budget, like a financial budget to some extent. So the next little chunk of this is I've got a couple little exercises I want you to work on just real quick. And one of them is really try to make out a budget. Remember you've got 24 hours in a day to work with, and where are you spending your time? And you can get as detailed as you want with something like this, and sleep time, travel time, how much time you spend in prepping on class, grading, dealing with students, all that other kind of stuff, and try to break down your day. And if you're anything like me, your day will end up with 36 hours instead of 24. It always seems like I've got way more to do than I've got time in a day. But that's setting up a budget this way. You're kind of shooting from the hip, and it's kind of like making a financial budget. If you've got $100 and you break it all down, it always fits perfectly because you force it. But in reality, one of the things you can kind of do after you set up a time budget is there's a lot of tools out there that help you track time. And this is something I did just recently. As a matter of fact, it was last summer that I worked through this. And it was to really track my time. Where am I spending my day? And one of the things that I kind of found interesting about it, after I was pretty serious about it for about a week and a half, is every time I answered the phone or jumped on my email or whatever, I tried to track it. And one of the really interesting things I kind of found out was that a lot of my day was spent on little tangents. I'd get an email, I'd go to answer the email, which would force me to go out to the internet to look something up, which in turn would get me to look at, ooh, isn't that a neat shiny thing there? And then the next thing you know, I spent a half hour on the internet, not really accomplishing my initial goal. So it was one of those kind of point things out for me, how much time I was kind of wasting throughout the day just not really even noticing I was doing it. One of the other things that I found out that was kind of a neat find for me was that a lot of my time I thought was being interrupted. And once I kind of realized how much interruption time I was getting and evaluating that a little bit, interruptions are a big part of my day. It's a big part of my job. And I just wasn't prioritizing those interruptions. Those are things that people come to me with questions all the time. People always knocking on my door, calling me, leaving me emails, and I was kind of looking at those as interruptions to some of the other things I was working on, when in reality that's a big part of my job. That's kind of the main job responsibility I have is dealing with those interruptions. So it's really how I prioritized it, or how I looked at those interruptions. I definitely felt a lot more productive, and I still struggled to get through some of my day-to-day activities, but at least I understood why. So if you want to try out some of these tracking things, I threw a couple up here, and I'll create a links page for us on the site with several more on it. But MindTools has kind of a neat little template. If that's something you want to kind of go down, it's just a little template that you can download. That's what time, when did you do the activity, how long did you spend doing the activity, and it gets a little bit more into the side of importance. Was it a high priority something, low priority, that kind of thing. So that's one tool that's out there. One of the other tools that's out there that's kind of neat, and this is the one that I used, is this tool called Toggl. And basically, you can set up this little timer, you turn it on, you do whatever it is that you're doing, and then when you're done doing it, you hit stop. And then once you kind of set up an account with them, it'll track and you can name things and categorize things. It's kind of like the lawyer clock, that every time you make a phone call, they punch the button to bill you. So it kind of works along those lines. And then there's another one that I found just recently, which is this clock tool, which works similar to that. There's phone versions of all these things, so if you've got an iPhone or an Android phone, you can download these apps for your phone and use them there as well. But it's just a way to kind of track where's your time going, what exactly am I doing, how am I losing this time throughout the day. And I was really kind of surprised after I spent about a week and a half working on that. So end of the day, bottom line, I'll leave you a couple little templates out there if you want to take a look at some of those. Try one of those out. and see where your time's going. So that's going to be our next little activity. We'll have a little discussion around that as well, but I just wanted to hit you with the basics of kind of a little bit of time budgeting.